The news we all knew was coming finally arrived today. The Broncos are hiring Darren Rizzi to be their special teams coordinator. He was the Saints' interim head coach after they fired Dennis Allen, and before that, he was their longtime special teams coordinator, even under Shawn Peyton. So, right off the jump here, I'll say this. I like this hire. I like this hire for a handful of reasons. One, he's got a very impressive resume. He's been a special teams coordinator going all the way back to 2011. So this is someone with a lot of experience. And when it comes to just Rizzy as the person, I've never met him personally, but his last name is awesome. You're getting the Rizzler, so that's a pretty cool little bonus treat right there. Plus, you are getting someone who is very well respected and was viewed as a head coach. He was the first person to get the interim head coach nod once they moved on from Dennis Allen. Plus, he was one of two finalists for the New Orleans head coaching gig. How often do you see the interim head coach be in serious contention for the full-time job once it opens up in January? Not too often. So this to me is a great hire by the Broncos. I always try to be a little bit optimistic when they bring a new hire in. Try to look at the half glass full side of things here. I don't have to try anything here. This to me is a slam dunk hire. I think it's the reason why Shawn Peyton moved on from Ben Kotwika, his former special teams coordinator. He saw an opportunity to upgrade. And so he did not waste any time. He went out there and made the decision to move on from Kotwika after the assistant special teams coordinator, Mike Westhoff, he retired due to medical issues halfway through the season. And now they bring in Rizzy, who has a lot of familiarity with Peyton because what do you know? Once again, another Shawn Peyton disciple or former players going from New Orleans to Denver. He likes to have people he's got connections with and he's got familiarity with on his coaching staff. Now, I have a lot more ground to cover on today's episode, but this is literally the reason why you should subscribe to the channel. Sometimes people get mad at me for talking about rumors and go, don't give us rumors, just tell us when there's news. If you were subscribed at the beginning of this week, you would have known Darren Rizzi would be the hire. Not a very good screenshot by me, but still, Darren Rizzi, you are a Bronco. So if you are looking for a Broncos YouTube channel that's always going to keep you 2 steps ahead of everyone else, this is why you subscribe. Help us get 23 more subscribers so we can get to our next mile marker as we march our way up to 40,000 subs. But scroll on down and click that sub button if you have not already. Now, Darren, I know you're watching this. So you have 2 job requirements. And this is what I said on Monday. No blocked field goals. If it happens because someone got a fingertip on it, so be it. But you have to watch film and make sure Alex Forsyth is not getting run over every single time there's contact made on him. And maximize Marvin Mims. You have one of the best returners in football. I don't need every single return to be a touchdown, but we got to get better field position out of the great special teams unit. And I think Rizzi is going to accomplish that. You can look at some of the, get this, special team stats from 2024. He's also got some little black voodoo magic. Opposing kickers last year against New Orleans, they only made 78% of field goals. That was 8th best for the team on the blocking end of side, the better side of things here. So he does a great job in coverage. It looks like top 10 across the board in punt, kick, and then you factor in he's got Marvin Mims to work with on his side of things. And I expect this to be a very, very good marriage between Rizzi and the Broncos special teamers. Now, if you're wondering, wait, Petey, how can they hire him? They didn't comply with the Rooney Rule because I never saw a notification of the Broncos are interviewing blank for the special teams coordinator. And the Rooney Rule, if you don't know, says you have to interview 2 external minority candidates before you can make a hire, which most teams by this day and age have just kind of made a bit of a mockery of the rule because they interview someone they have no intention of hiring just to check that box. According to Mike Kliss, they interviewed 2 unknown candidates. They knew they were going to hire Rizzi. I'm not sure if they just brought in the mailman or what, but they found 2 people for an interview that never made its way to any kind of reporter. So there you have it. That's how you get Rooney Rule compliant. But yes, like I said before, and I'm going to continue to repeat it, I think this is a very good move for Denver. especially when you factor in the fact that the Broncos have lost a lot of coaches and people in their front office, right? George Payton's right-hand man. George Payton's nephew follows his right-hand man. They move on from some coaches. Some coaches leave for offensive coordinator gigs elsewhere. The Broncos coaching staff and front office has kind of been just ransacked, right? Pillaged. So finally, Denver goes, we're bringing someone in to try and make up for all the very valuable people we lost, because I understand like Declan Doyle and a couple other guys that moved on to other jobs because they felt like with Shawn Peyton there, you can never really break through as an offensive coordinator at the Broncos since you don't get to call plays. So it's hard to get a good amount of attention by other teams when you want to get a head coaching job later down the road. So Darren Rizzi, welcome to Denver. Very excited for this move. I think the special teams unit, while it wasn't bad last year, I think it's going to be better. And the funny thing about special teams is we like to say it's a third of the game. It's not really a third of the game, right? It's not like special teams has the same amount of snaps as offense or defense. Offense and defense are 40% of the game each, and then special teams makes up 20% of the game. And that might be being generous. But the thing about special teams is it's almost, what's a good analogy? Like, you don't want to notice special teams more often than not. If special teams is being talked about, something's probably not going super duper well. So Darren Rizzi's job is to make sure his unit is never responsible for the defense being put in a bad spot, the offense being put in an uncomfortable situation. That's his job. Make sure special teams is a servant to offense and defense, whether it's flipping the field well, an opposing team starts backed up inside their own 10-yard line, or Bo Nix gets to run out to the 35 for 1st and 10 because special teams had a nice return on the kick or punt return. They are the, unthinked heroes of this team. They make sure the offense and defenses are put in good positions to be successful. And then as for kicking, I'll leave it up to the kicker, which Will Lutz comes off one of the best seasons of his NFL career. What do you know? Another former Saints player, by the way, who came up to Denver. But I also think this hire, it kind of reminds me of Rich Bisaccia. Remember him? He was the Raiders interim who took Las Vegas to the playoffs. They lost to the Bengals. Then the Raiders did not bring it back. They went with Josh McDaniels. So that was a bad idea. But what do you know? It's the Raiders. And Bisaccia goes to Green Bay to be the next special teams coordinator there because their special teams before that was awful. And they've done a pretty good job. I think there was almost like a bit of I wouldn't say a need, but man, a desire to find a couple of coordinators that are not about to just run out the door to be a head coach elsewhere. Like the Chiefs have it so great with Steve Spagnuolo because no one's going to hire him to be a head coach for a third time. So if you find a great special teams coordinator, man, he's going to do a lot of the dirty work for you, and he's probably not going anywhere because the last time a special teams coordinator was hired to be a head coach, I think was Harbaugh, right? John Harbaugh to the Ravens? Maybe someone more recently they got fired and I just don't remember. But luckily for Denver, this does not seem like a candidate who's going to be quickly running out the door. So let me know what you think of the hire. I always love to have a back and forth with you guys in the comment section. You can probably tell what my thoughts are. If you had to grade it A to F, I'm giving it an A, a big A. I'm trying to look at any of the notes I have down here on this, but he was, very much liked in New Orleans, and if you're viewed as a interim head coaching promotion, clearly you're doing a lot of things right when it comes to maintaining a locker room, and that's always nice to have on your coaching staff. Okay, before we sign off, I want to name a random Broncos kicker or punter. We already did special teamer earlier this week, so I don't want to repeat this, and I'm going to see how long I can go thinking of new random blank. So give me your random Broncos kicker or punter. I've got mine already. I'm going to count down from 3, and we'll see if we say the same person. 3, 2, 1. Jason Elam. Some of you might have thought, no, he's not going to go that far back. Oh, yeah, I did. And I didn't realize this, by the way. He was a 3rd-round draft pick. It was in 1993, so it was not really on my radar back then. But, yeah, kicker, round 3. That's usually some Raiders shit right there. Although Jake Moody by the Niners was taken in the 3rd round recently. The Buccaneers took Roberto Aguero, right? There's 2 of them. And that was a bad 2nd round pick as well. He just got the yips. I forgot what the moment that gave him the yips, but he was good. I felt like his rookie year or something. I don't know. Either way. Darren Rizzi, what's that? Janikowski's a first-round pick. That's the Raiders for you. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning into a breaking news edition of the Broncos Breakdown. I'll see you all tomorrow.